Oh, don't worry about it. No, this would be a lot of fun. It's like a lot of times people when I talk to them, they're thinking like they're gonna, Doug's gonna ask about, the big movies or the big shows and stuff. But the one thing I really enjoy is finding out how people, got started, because this is obviously a crazy business to attempt to get into. Like the
Yeah,
success rate is in the, I don't know, maybe single digits, teens at best, right?
they're in something.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
so how did it all begin for you? You grew up in St. Louis or in the suburbs outside?
Okay, so I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, a suburb called Queef Corps, broken heart. Um, and you're going to laugh at this, but today is the 28th, 29th? What is today? What's the date today?
Today is the
The
28th.
28th. So on June 30th, let's see how many. Oh my God. Well, Alexa, what is 17 minus 60?
17 minus 60 is minus 43.
I
Okay,
like that.
43 years ago, to 30th of June, I was part of uh, uh, I was working at Six Flags over Mid-America as a performer, and I won the Stairway to Stardom for the Dinah Shore Show. Do you know
Okay.
who Dinah Shore
Yeah.
was? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I sang and danced on the Dinah Shore Show, however many years ago that was, we just said. But I was in choir. I was in all the school plays. I was, um, I wanted to sing and dance on Broadway, and that was my dream. And sure enough, at 17, I went to SMU in Dallas, Texas for a semester only. And I was studying dance and arts, and the dance, not the dance, not the head of the dance department, but the assistant to the dancing teacher. His name was Jerry Bevington, and he was very situated in the program. And he saw me one day and he said, "What's up with you? Why are you so unhappy?" And I said, "I don't think I should be here." He said, "You're right. You shouldn't. You should be in New York." Thank you, Jerry
Wow.
Bevington. You know, an astute, um, you know, uh, I don't know. I wanted to be in all the shows, and they were. If you're in college, you go through the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. They give you the parts. You're paying to be a star in their shows. I was a freshman. They weren't going to use me. So
Yeah.
I went to New York, and 3 months later, I was cast in a chorus line on the Broadway tour. And
Wow.
I mean,
Did you know anybody in New York? Was there like any ins, or did you go like totally blind, or did you have somebody out there?
I knew two people out there. I went to stay with somebody. I don't know. I was kind of like I don't want to say a hustler, but I was a hustler of sorts. I really wanted to. Let me turn this off. I really wanted to be successful fast, and my hustle was about looking at people I knew, looking up auditions, looking up uh, casting directors, anybody who had an opportunity for me to possibly come out there and do something. I'd call and knock on the door, and this is
Wow.
way before the internet. This is way before. Let me turn this down. This is very bright. I'm just noticing. Oh, that's easy. Now I can see you. And I really, really wanted to. I don't know. I wanted to sing and dance on Broadway. I remember a chorus line coming through St. Louis 2 years in a row prior to my going to New York. And sure enough, I heard about an audition. And I took my picture and resume to the stage door as per somebody's request. Jamie Torcellini. I met him in St. Louis when he came through and did a chorus line. And then I saw him on the streets in New York. I said, "You did chorus line in St. Louis, Missouri. I remember seeing you." So that's how we kind of connected. And one day we were walking by the Schubert Theater, and I said, I want to be in a chorus line so badly. I wish they were having auditions." He said, "They are." And I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, they're having a closed call. You should take your picture and resume to the stage door," which I did. I knocked on the stage door, and I said, "I'm Kevin Blair." That was my name at the time.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm not equity, but if you think I'm right for the show, please call me. I'd love to audition. And they called. And a week and a half later, I was in a chorus line learning the show. And that took me to the tour. So I kind of got out of New York at that time. And I kind of got, I don't know, I was very spoiled. A year in a white contract as a lead. So I was Mike Costa. I sang I Can Do That. That was considered a white contract lead, and you could buy into SAG at that time if you had a
really from Broadway. You could buy into SAG.
A white contract meant you were an equity lead, and that could give you entree to purchasing SAG. So I was like, I got to LA and I was like, okay, I'm SAG, I'm equity, let's do this. And I had already been after doing some modeling and some industry shows back in St. Louis as a kid. So I was SAG after an equity. And that sort of started my career here in 1982.
So was that always the goal? Obviously you said like you always wanted to like go on Broadway, and you did that. Was after you did that, was there right away you were thinking TV film at all? Or
I wanted to be Gene Kelly. I wanted to be Fred Astaire. I wanted to sing and dance on Broadway, and that happened so fast. And then I'd get out here. I got out here, and I don't know. People said, you'd be right for a soap opera. You'd be right for this part. You'd be right for this or that. So, I mean, I kind of found my rhythm. That's the best way I can say it, out here. And it took me a little while. It took me a year. In 1 year, the first year I was here, I got my very first slasher film sequel.
Nice, I know.
I was cast as, what was my name? Roy in
Roy,
The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. And Wes Craven directed that and wrote that, of course. And then about a year after that, I landed my first soap opera called Rituals. And that was, they were trying to create a syndicated soap opera. So Rituals played sometimes in the afternoon, depending on what your particular state was, or location, or what do they call that? They call that
time zone.
Time zone, but no, it was sort of like whatever your there's a technical word for it, and I'll think of it in a second. But it played 11 o'clock here in the afternoon, and it played 11 p.m. in St. Louis, Missouri, and it played all over the demographic.
Oh, okay.
Whatever your demographic was, that's where they kind of try to plug it in. So that happened, and it was only on for a year. And
it was on for a year, and there was 81 episodes.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah, I don't know if that's right. But that makes sense, right? It's a soap, so they pump out a lot of episodes.
I did 81 episodes on Rituals, yeah. So, yeah. And that's where I kind of learned that whole television fast memorization, and soap opera then was a little different too. It was you get up in the morning, you're blocking, then you get to your rehearsal with the camera blocking, and then you have a dress rehearsal because you have to learn your part and get acting notes and whatnot, and then you tape it for reels. Who was on that show with me? Mary Beth Evans Schwartz, who is now Kayla on Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
Go back that far. Who else? There was someone else. Kin Shriner, who is now leaving General Hospital. There was an actress named Felice Sampler, who was on Days of Our Lives for many years, and she was also on Another World for many years. She's recently passed. I think Greg Malavy from Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman played my dad, and there is one more person who okay, get this story. I'm jumping way ahead.
That's
this
fine.
This last holiday season around Christmas, before Christmas, I was in New York. I had just finished season 3 of After Forever, which we'll talk about. And I went to go see my ex in a play, and he was in this great new weird it was just a weird play, comedy, dramedy, over the top acting, very serious at times. And I had no idea what to expect. He was at 59 East 59th Street was a theater. I can't remember the name of the show. And I sit down next to this woman and I go, oh my God, all the ladies are these ladies who lunch. They must be, they're all in red sweaters. And this woman turns to me and she says, you know, I brought all of these women here. It's their Christmas present from me. I said, oh my God, that's fantastic. What made you pick this show? And she says, I don't know. I read it. I read the blurb about it. It sounded outrageous. And that's just my kind of work that I love to watch and promote and support. And I go, are you in the business? And she goes, I used to be. And I said, my name is, I go, what's your name? And she goes, Christine Jones. I went, Christine, it's Kevin Blair from Rituals.
Oh my God.
And we had this, I mean, I saw now a very beautiful, matured woman with silver hair, you know, in the same cut that she used to have. It was so weird. It was so brilliant.
Oh my God. And, what was the last time you saw her? Was it that long ago?
Rituals. Alexa,
wow.
How many years? No, I'm kidding. I joke. But it was, we just had this beautiful reunion and we took pictures and some selfies and so that was the Rituals. Alexa, stop.
Alexa, but no, I think that's what's cool about filmmaking. When I talk to like actors, when you're on a set, it's like you're on a little, maybe not. It's not probably not the same because you're not living anywhere. It's not on location for like Rituals, but still there's that camaraderie that you have.
Well, there's a family.
It's like a little camp.
Yeah. There's a very good unit together of how you come together. It happened for me on Rituals. It happened for me on Days of Our Lives, and it happened for me on Subspecies.
Yeah.
So, hey, baby, you want to come up and say hello to the peoples?
It's like you're a family. You like, don't skip a beat. You know, 38 years later. Like I talked to Alex Winter, and this guy.
Winter. Wait.
Yeah.
Do you know that we know each other?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
So
really?
Alex
Okay.
It was Missouri. Alex was this little kid who I used to babysit at the Jewish Community Center doing theater.
What?
He's a singer too. He's a singer.
That's really funny. But no, we did like this Death Wish 3 reunion. Him and he only agreed. We thought these two guys that he was good friends with, we thought they were like still in touch after all these years. And me and this other guy set this reunion up for Death Wish 3. It was for Charles Bronson, what would have been his 100th birthday.
Right.
It was so great. Me and this guy just like flies on the wall, hearing these guys reminisce because they haven't seen each other since like 85, maybe through like email, maybe brushing shoulders in public, but they were just going through all these stories and you're like, wow, it's like.
You're talking Alex Winter as in
Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Alex Winter. And I got back, actually the last time I saw him, he had just finished filming, or he was filming The Boy. What was the vampire movie that they did?
Lost Boys?
Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Part 1 or part 2, I can't remember. And that's how we reconnected. And
that's funny.
I haven't seen him in forever. And I think he's one of the most talented, most articulate, most creative younger dudes around. You know, so he's
pretty funny.
Like, he's got to be like, what, 50 now? something like
he's got to be. No, when you babysat him, he wasn't probably that much younger than you now.
Alexa, how old is Alex Winter?
Alex Winter is 57 years old.
57 years old, so I'm 60, yeah. I guess.
Yeah, so pretty close.
Well, Alex, keep up the good work, man.
Alex, keep up the good work. So yeah, you're in the, while you're like on Rituals, and then obviously you go to like shows like Facts of Life. Are you still doing Broadway? I know LA is totally different. It's like a very smaller scene when it comes to that.
Questions, Doug. You're asking some great questions. So I maintained my musical roots out here in Los Angeles, whether it was in Long Beach doing a musical at the Civic Light Opera there, or a benefit, or I'd be chosen to sing, a solo or a duet with somebody. I did Into the Woods 3 times at different times throughout the history. I've been out in Los Angeles for 40 years. 40 years has been my base here in Los Angeles. And at that time, I also went back to New York, and so I still had this love affair with New York, and I still had this love affair with Broadway. And I was cast to replace somebody in the musical Meet Me in St. Louis on the Broadway.
Oh, look at that.
And then I replaced somebody, and it closed 6 weeks later. Not that I had nothing to do with the closing. And then, yeah, do not hire Kevin ever again. No. I auditioned for Hairspray, and right after Days of Our Lives had written me off 20 years ago, when they kind of like did a whole like new head writer, and we left, and I was free to kind of pursue theater again, and I was very excited about it. I got very close to doing Hairspray on tour, and I didn't get it, and I was heartbroken because I know Jerry Mitchell, I know Scott Whitman, and I know Mark Shaman, and I wanted to be in Hairspray, Corny Collins, and didn't get it. And then I get a call, and this is something I can't explain how I know, but this is what happens to me. I get a call from my agent, and they start to say, "Here's the audition," and by the time I hang up the phone, I know the role is either mine, or I'm going to get it, or something like that. And I got a call from my agent that they wanted to see me again in New York. I was living in LA, in New York, to audition again for The Boy from Oz. And I said, wait a minute, wait. Did someone drop out? Because I got to let this cat out. She's going to cry the whole time.
No problem.
Baby. Go on. So I get a call to audition for A Boy from Oz, and they said, no, this is to be the standby for Hugh Jackman. Okay. Now, Kevin, I told them you're 6 feet tall. I'm not 6 feet tall. They're looking for someone 6 foot and over. I'm not 6 foot and over. But I hung up the phone, and I turned to my partner at the time, and I said, I'm going to be moving to New York. And he said, what? And he said, you got a job? I said, I'm going to. I just knew, and this is not anything other than Peter Allen's music is me. I love Hugh Jackman. You know, I can see why they would want someone like me to stand by for him. It got down to 4 guys. I got it. I'm not 6 foot. I kept telling them, I'm a grower, not a shower, you know, come on. And that was a joke. But now, I never went on for Hugh. He never missed a performance, but I went on for other parts that I covered. And it was one of the greatest years in the weirdest of ways. You know, I was basically, I wasn't being babysat, but I was watching a show go on every night that I knew I could step into at any given moment and get the excitement and the joy of being on stage. And it wasn't about that. That year, that contract was really about, how can I say this? Was about me learning and watching and observing how the theater goes together. I'm talking from a superstar to people under him, to the audience, to producers, to writers, to the musicians, to the. I was told this never happened, but Patrick Vaccarello is still a musical director. He was the musical director for for Boy from Oz, and I'm sitting with him one night doing previews, and I had just been hired. I mean, I kind of came in very late, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, God, I love that number. He goes, "You ready to go on?" And I went, "What?" He goes, "Oh yeah, he'll call in sick. You watch. All my stars, right in the previews, they'll do 3 shows or 4 shows, and they'll pull out for a night." And I said, "What?" And I went home that night, and I put the script in my head, like in a day, and never went on. But I knew it. but that was my training. That's from, the daytime training. You put it in your head. And I knew at that point, if anyone called me to go on for any of the roles, I was ready. Tell me if this helicopter is too loud, because it's loud.
Oh, no, I can't hear it.
Okay. So, but here's the great thing about Jackman. I watched him, and I told him this too. And I've kind of got a new show, a new podcast I'm kind of putting together based on this. What would Hugh do? And it's basically, I watched him take care of the audience every night. I don't mean just with his talent, but like if something happened. Oh, wait, stop it. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, wait, hold on. Are you okay? We gonna need to fix this. We all right with you? Hold on. Talk about yourself. And it was like there was never a problem. And that's what I learned. There's never a problem unless you choose it or unless you make it. And I just learned to let go of problems. I have no fear going on stage. I have no fear walking onto a set now. The only time I have fear is if I'm not ready, if I'm not prepared, if I am not rehearsed enough, and that's still up to me. So that's a self-discipline thing that I've actually had to learn and take on through the years. And the great thing about our dear friend Denice Duff, who I'm mad about,
yes,
family, my sister of however many years we've known each other, she is the same way. She's like, boom, I got to know it, I got to do it, I got to get in there, and that's why I love her. That's why we I met Denice. We're jumping around here, but well, around that time, around what is it? How many? 32 years ago? 33 years ago? We did the
you met
first.
Her just on Subspecies. That's the first time you met her.
Yeah,
the second one.
I met her. Yeah, we both met on Subspecies 2 and 3. We spent the entire summer with Anna Sove, Ted Nicolau, Melanie Shatner. There was one more person who, anyway, there was the four of us basically. Melanie didn't come back to do the prequel, obviously, but we became a family, and I would do anything for Ted and Honest and Denice. I love them so much, and it's really because of Denice that I went on to do the prequel. As you know, I played Mel Thompson in part 2 and 3, and I got killed in part 4 because I had been hired by Days of Our Lives and couldn't get away to do part 4. They killed off the character, and Denice said, "Hey Ted, if you're gonna do a prequel, you got to bring Kevin in." Well, Denice, no, he's like dead, and yeah, but it's a prequel. Make him someone else. And put makeup on him, do something. And we discussed it, and I was over the moon that he allowed me to jump into Vladislav's. I mean, and then of course, Denise and I had like 5 days of work during those 3 weeks I was there in Belgrade and Serbia, and this kept, the pandemic kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and by this time, I'm now in need to get clear so I can get to New York to finish season 3 of After Forever, which is my baby. And I said, Ted, you're pushing up against it. He says, just trust me, Kevin. Trust me, we'll get you out there. I promise we'll get you out of there. And they did. But Denice and I traveled that. I've got pictures on. Let's see if I can pull a couple pictures here. There's some great pictures of me and Denice that you'll love. I'll share.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like when you do an acting, when you're doing a job, obviously you love the craft you do, but when you do it in somewhere exotic that you might never go on a vacation, exactly. Not saying you wouldn't choose it. Nothing against those countries that people go and film in, because obviously it's cheaper. You get cheaper work and to build sets, but why not? Right?
Well, I'll tell you something. We were in Romania for about 3 months, give or take, a year after the fall of Ceausescu. We had no cell phones, we had no internet, we had nothing. So let's see if I can find some of these pictures. I think this is the epitome of Denice Duff and myself here. Because we just love each other so much, and she's like my sister from another dad and mom. So okay, let's see here. Oh yeah.
Full Moon loves shooting in Romania.
Yeah, well, they don't shoot there no more. They don't shoot there no more. Okay, so here's a great picture of me and Jackman. Um, this is So I begged Hugh Jackman to be in part two of After Forever, and he considered it,
Wow.
and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. They couldn't work it out. And I said, "Thanks for even thinking about it and considering it. It means the world to me." And he goes, "You're not going to even beg me?" So before the pandemic, I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl, and this is me begging him.
That's awesome.
He's great. And he said, "No, I still can't do it." And then where's Denice? Where's Denice Duff? Oh, come on. Here we go. I think. Nope. It's coming. It's coming here. Well, this is a picture of me. So this is a picture of me and Denice. She came out here she was living in Florida at this time. She moved to Florida, and I picked her up from the airport, dropped her off at she had this huge, like, there was not a festival, but there was some sort of, like, convention going on outdoors. And I come to pick her up, and she goes, What? Tell me. So this is the day that I came back with the news that Days of Our Lives had just called me back to have Craig Wesley come back and come out of the closet. So
wow.
Yeah, it was really kind of a cool thing. Yeah, that's my Denice Duff. I love her madly.
Is that something that they did unprovoked? Like, is that something you mentioned to the writers in the past?
No.
Or
So this is let's jump here. We'll jump here. Okay,
Yeah.
Wait. This is what I was looking for. So this is me and Denice. This is in 1992, Subspecies 2 and 3, and then in Serbia, 2020. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah. That's great.
We kind of posed again.
Recreated it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my girl.
That's really cool.
So it was very clear to me that they were starting to bring back a lot of people. Storylines repeat, they repeat. That's a soap opera. And sure enough, I remember telling my co-star, Patrika Darba, who played my wife Nancy on the show, I said, "Honey, they aren't ever going to bring me back unless they bring me out of the closet." And she says, "Why would they do that? I mean, that's ridiculous." I said, "It's a great story." Now, cut to June 1st, 2014. I'm in New York. I had decided that after they wrote me off of Days of Our Lives, and I had done, I had gone back to do Hairspray in Vegas. I got them to do it, and that closed 3 months later because it wasn't me, but it just didn't stick in Vegas. So I had the bug again. I wanted to go back to New York, and sure enough, I packed up everything. I had never lived in New York for more than that year that I had done the show with Jackman and standing by for him. And I moved to New York for 7.5 years.
Wow.
And that's when I kind of felt, I got on stage a couple of times with some plays that I was very excited about. And then I remember June 1st, 2014, I'm at the gym and I get off of the treadmill and there's a gentleman and he says, "Are you Kevin Spirtas? Because I used to write for you on Days of Our Lives." I went, "Great pickup line." No, I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Michael Slade." And I said, "Oh my God, I know that name." The writers and the actors are always kind of kept apart on soaps. They don't want them getting any extra attention And I said, "Of course I know Michael Slade's name, and nice to meet you." And we started talking, and I asked him what he was doing, and he said, kind of like, kind of taking it easy. I'm in between a couple of things. And I said, "We should do something digital." And he said, "Nah." And I said, No. I want to do a story about gay men who are not 30. And he looked at me like I had just taken my hand and went in his brain and went, "Look what I got." And he said, "Call me." And we started to talk about I wanted to do a show about a guy who was my age at the time, 50, 51-ish, who was single and went out on dates. And dating in this day and age, for me, was like Grinder and Cupid and all these stupid apps. I'm like, dates are stupid anyway. And being set up, it was just horrible experiences. And he said, what about a love story where you are trying to find your true love? I said, that's the idea. And he started to talk about some things. And he said, why aren't you involved with anybody right now? Are you single? And I said, well, have you eaten with me? I mean, it just hasn't happened. You can't blame me for it not happening. And then I asked him, what about you? And I did not know Michael. I really was not close to him at all until very, very later in our work relationship, in our collaboration. And I said, how about you? And he said, I lost my partner of 15 years about a year and a half ago. And I said, I'm very sorry to hear that. You still talk to him? And again, he looked at me like I had just gone, and he said, I do. And I said, well, if you would be maybe interested or willing or something around the idea of having me with a loss of a character, like my husband or partner has died, we could do a show about the present, which is my life now, my character's life now. The flashbacks would show the relationship of what the relationship was about. And then we would go to other parts of me conjuring up my late partner to talk to him, to work out the grief, to work out. See, you got me on a good day. So there's been some loss lately, so that's why.
It's okay.
Anyway, the story is about love, loss, and new beginnings. About my character Brian Stone, who loses his partner Jason Adams, and I don't know if you can see up here. There's 4 out of the 6 enemies up there.
Amazing.
And Michael and I went on to create an incredible short form series called After Forever. It's on Prime, it's on Tubi, it's coming out on Deku and a couple other streaming services now. But here's the thing. In 2019, unbeknownst to us, when we won the 5 Emmys that year, we won Best Director, we won Best Supporting Actress, I won Best Actor, which I shared with Mitchell Anderson, my leading man. We won Best Writing, we won Best Series. We had won 5 Emmys. It was the first dramatic series of any kind to win 5 Emmys across any platform, dramatic, LGBT, anything. And that was remarkable to us. Like, we just went out to create this little show. And people said, Kevin, Michael, you should sell it. Just sell the pilot. And we said, if we sell the pilot, they're going to get John Stamos to play my part, and they're going to get so-and-so to play, it's not going to be our show. And we created this show the way we knew how it could be. And in 2019, Michael says so this is why I'm thinking Days of Our Lives. I'm up on stage, and there's Days of Our Lives, there's General Hospital, Young and the Restless, there's all these good people, and I'm looking at the people at Days of Our Lives, watching us, Michael making the speech about, we kept winning all these awards, and I'm thinking, they have no idea what we've created. They have no idea what we've done. And later that night at the party, the head writer, Ron Calvardi, came up to me. Michael wasn't with me at that moment. And said, congratulations, you guys. You really, great job. I'm very proud of you. And continued success. And he takes off. And Michael just comes up and he says, what did Ron have to say? And I said, he congratulated us. And again, this is when I don't know why I know this shit, but they're going to bring me back on the show and they're going to have my character come out. He went, what? They will never do that. I said, yes, they will, Michael. I guarantee it. I wish Michael was still alive to verify that story. But certainly about halfway through, we had just finished filming season 1. And between season 1 and season 2 and the pandemic, During that time, Michael had contracted prostate cancer, and they caught it so late, we lost him. So season 3, which was done way after the pandemic, which is going to be now coming out in September, fall. I'll say fall. Don't quote me. I'm very proud of it. It's the first season is really the story about Jason and Brian, how they meet and how he dies. Second season is about my character moving through, hoping to have this relationship with someone he's set up with, and I'm not ready yet because I'm still hooked into Jason. And season 3 is about going into therapy and working through all of the crap. So Jason comes into therapy with me, and I go into therapy with it's quite a remarkable trilogy, and I'm very proud of it. And so that's what you do when work stops coming to you. You create work, and I was very, very fortunate that I kind of say it like this: I could have been on the moon June 1st, 2014, and I would have seen Michael Slade walking by. He would have said, "I wrote for you on Days of Our Lives. I'm on the moon." Well, it's just, I think certain things are kind of like universally, mapped out for you, and you can't change it. You can't force it. You can't. It's a universal crossing point, and that's what that was for us. So
that's why. What was the process of doing that? Because when did you start filming that? Would you say like 2017, 2018?
Okay. So 2014 we met. 2015, by 2015 we had written 8 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And because I had kind of fallen into producing, I kind of learned how the Broadway thing was going, and I created a staged reading. And I just knew if I could invite every freaking Broadway money person, friends who had money, who were supportive of me and my creativity, of Michael and his creativity, if I can get them all in a room, we could raise $100,000 and do this. And that's what we did. And we had a reading. And then the casting for the real show became, I went out to my friend Mitchell Anderson, who was on Doogie Howser and Party of Five, and he had already moved to Atlanta and opened up 2 restaurants. And he's very successful restaurateur. And I said, I got this role. I think you might want to look at it. He goes, no, Kevin. I said, no. I think you. And he called me the next day and said, when do we start? And
wow.
Which is if you go on to YouTube or any of these like Vimeo, and you see me accepting my Emmy, I had told Mitchell, because we had never worked together. Like, I chose him to be my leading man because at that time, so we started filming 2017. We had raised the money. You asked that question. So by 2017, we got it all worked out. I needed someone who I could jump into a scene with, feel comfortable putting my arm around him, hanging on him, and know that he was going to be able to respond. And we were going to like each other and have fun with each other. And we always joked about it. I said, we're always up against each other, but now that you're not in Hollywood, I get the roles. So I called him with the great news that we had both been nominated for Emmy and leading actor role. And we cried, and we laughed, and it was amazing. And I said to him the night at the Emmys, I said, you better run up there when they call your name. But if they call me, you're running up with me. And he said, no. I said, I grabbed him and I dragged him on stage.
Oh, I gotta watch that. That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I think.
So you just knew him from the audition room? You'd walk in and be like, oh, there's this guy.
Well, no, I knew him because, back in the day, back in the 80s, we had a good close group of friends. And, once you're in the auditions, you start to see people, you see your competition, you start, oh, wait, so-and-so. It's just, we became buddies, and we just, and his whole story about coming out and his story about being an activist is truly amazing, which I've kind of helped him produce a little bit here and there in different areas. And it may be coming to a theater near you very soon. It's a great play. It's a great play with music. He sings in it as well. And so that's how After Forever was born. And
wow.
I don't know where it's going to go, except now that all 3 seasons are completed, and will be. I'd like to get it out there to the world. I'd like the world to see it. I don't mean like because of me. I want the world to see the story about gay men of a certain age who are never. They're always excused from the canvas of storytelling, like middle-aged women. Same thing.
Oh, I
So
know. Yeah, no,
it's a
I
very
agree.
important. And by the way, Denice has a friend who is one of my producers, and talk about family. So I'm at the Daytime Emmys in 2019. It's the first season, and I feel this tug on my jacket, and I see some shiny, like lame dress or something, and I'm like, one second, and I'm talking to this interview, and he's like, I go, what? Ah! So our friend flew her in, and she was at the Emmys, and she's there, and we were just,
Ah,
it was such a fucking great night. And I remember coming back here to my house, and I went, well, that will never happen like that again. Like not that we couldn't do it again, but
yeah.
it was like every moment, I remember just laying here, and I wasn't weeping, but I just remember like the release of tears were just like, what just happened? It just went by memories. It was crazy. And then
And
the
not like you're
pandemic
sticking
happened.
it to. I know you wouldn't say this, so I'll say it. It's not like you're sticking it to like the shows you worked on or anything like
No,
that.
no.
But it is super. It's got to feel great. Like after being written off and being on stage and looking out and seeing those people, in a
Well,
sense.
yeah, you know, I, it feels great. It feels great that I was able to be successful in a role and in a position that I was able to create myself.
Yeah.
That is not unlike me. That's something I've always like when I auditioned for Days of Our Lives originally, I was on for a 2-day role. 2 days. And the casting director, the late the late Fran Bascom, uh, the late Fran Bascom called me up and she said, Kevin, I just got off the producer tonight on the phone. I don't know what you did on the set today, but he loves you. Go back tomorrow and do the same thing. I went, oh, okay. And that was 2 days. I did that 2-day role. And 8 months later, they called me back and said, here's your 3-year contract. Now, I have to tell you, when I went in to do that 2-day role, I remember thinking and looking around going, yeah, I like this. This could be this is my set. I mean, I remember like putting my mark on it. I remember like, and that was not something like, haha, I did it. It was just something I like felt I knew how I could create and offer. And so the good thing is this last June 8th, right when you and I were getting in touch with each other, the Hollywood Museum every year for the last 10 years has done this incredible exhibit called Real to Real. Real people and personas and stories of the LGBT community to REEL. And this year, I was presented the 2023 Trailblazer Award.
Wow.
And when they told me, I mean, I told my publicist, I was like, okay, so I don't know if you know this, but when they brought me back to Days of Our Lives and they had me do the coming out storyline of Craig Wesley coming out as gay, I did get nominated for an Emmy. But they haven't had the Emmys because of the dang strike. So we're waiting.
Yeah.
I'm on hold. So I got to make room, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Moving over, getting the shelf. Yeah.
I believe it would be an amazing win, not because I think I'm going to win, or it's been a full circle. And this is why I'm telling you this. So my publicist said, so by the way, I'll be happy to help you with this is before the strike. But we'll help you with all the stuff you need to get done for the Emmys. But wanted to tell you that the Hollywood Museum called and they want to present you with this award. And I went, what award? He says, for trailblazing. And I said, what? He says, well, you created your own show. You you came out and got nominated for this Emmy, it's a pretty big deal, Kevin. And on June 8th, I remember saying in front of these people at this exhibit, going, how long it has taken me to get there. And I don't mean like it's taken me a long time. I mean, it's taken me 60 years to be comfortable in my body and in my mind and in my heart as a gay man, and to know that I belong. And I said, if you would have told my 10-year-old or my 20 or 30 or 40 or 50-year-old even that this would be happening, that I would be acknowledged for doing something that brings me joy and hopefully some sort of healing, that you or anyone who's watching might go, I see myself in that person and I see myself in that story. And if they can heal themselves, so can I. And that to me is what we're in this freaking business about. That's why we're here. And it could be a monster movie. It could be a vampire flick. It could be a criminal law, whatever it is. We identify and see ourselves. And that's why soap operas are so popular, because we come into your living room every day. We are into your living room once a week on, prime time, whatever it is. You feel like you're their friends. That's why Friends was so great, and so I'm very grateful, and I'm humbled at the same time, and I believe that my work is beautifully acknowledged at this point, and I'm grateful that when Michael and I were writing the series together, he said, Kevin, you gotta remember who you are. You're not going to hide from this anymore. I said, you're right. And I just think of Mufasa in, Lion King, from the afterlife, talking to Simba, remember who you are. That's just what it's about. So we all have to do that.
Yeah. And and that's what's terrible about this whole world, with so many people not saying people aren't allowed to be themselves, but there's like a fear of being who you truly are. And like you just said, like 60 years and you finally felt comfortable. It's not like you didn't want to feel comfortable. There's probably like the outside forces, especially in Hollywood.
Well, I gotta, yeah, yes, especially in Hollywood at that time. And I grew up, I matured as a leading man, as a young leading man, and now I'm a leading older man. You weren't supposed to be gay. You weren't supposed to talk about it. And not only that, I do remember as a kid, I knew very early on, I can't tell you age. I remember feelings and stories and people, but I knew that I was this way, and you can call it whatever you want to call it at that time. But once I learned it was gay, and once I learned that gay was not accepted, and that I was actually probably not supposed to be that way, so I could be commercial or I could get work or whatever the thing is. The world that you grow up in is your family, it's your parents, and they're the mouth speakers, and I could hear them talk about stories at different times. And, I couldn't even be comfortable in my own home at times because I didn't feel comfortable expressing myself. And then, this is not to out my dad in any way about, his behavior, but, I had a very, very my dad's going to turn 90 in July. He's very much the man of the house. And, I didn't play ball. I was dance class and gymnastics, that was me. And so there was all that. And my mom was very careful about how she would support me creatively with, gymnastics or dancing or art classes or whatever. But I had a teacher, and her name is Joanne Smiley, and she's now retired, but she's the mayor of Clarksville, Missouri, and I still am in touch with her. And it's because of her. She saw my talent. And I wanted to perform, and I wanted to be around her creativity. And that is why I know who I am today, is because she saw me, she got me. We never talked about it, but it wasn't a problem. You just get out there and sing. You get out there and you act. You get out there and do what you do. And when they asked me who I would like to present the Trailblazer Award, the first person I thought of was my teacher. She couldn't do it. She couldn't come out here. But I thought, wouldn't it be great to have the mayor of Clarksville, Missouri, my teacher? You know. She was very honored that I asked her. But so, you know, life is just, it's so much of it, of the source that we come from. If you, the younger generation now has a better way of being who they are. You know, internet has made it so accessible. Oh, that person's like me, or I see myself there. It's unending. It wasn't like it 60 years ago for me. So I can say to you that I'm grateful that I have found where I'm standing, and I'm happy to say that I like me. I love me. But it was that's what I mean. Before, it took a long time to get here, and it would be an honor to stand up and receive the Emmy for that reason alone. My work is no better or no less than any of the other outstanding guest performers. They're all amazing. So, and they each have their own story and their connection to it too. We'll see. But
so when you started, you mentioned you were just on like for 2 days. What was your character? Was it Craig Wesley?
It was Craig Wesley. It was
really,
Craig Wesley.
And they morphed that character into, you know, as many episodes, 450 episodes or whatever.
I was told that in those 2 days there was a meeting that was taken. They said, we like this guy. Let's find a way to bring him into a storyline that will help push this other storyline into a situation. And I came on as a snarky, nasty, mean, mustache twirling doctor, chief of staff, and everyone hated me. But Patrika Darbo and I became very, very fast accepted as the non-conventional couple of Daytime, you know, and she was a woman of size, and we were funny together, and we were plotting, you know, and then yeah, it's what it was for those 8 years, 7.5, 8 years, and then, you know, head writers changed. They want to do their own touch of the show, and we got, but and they brought me back a couple times. But that was, I just knew they would be fools not to have me come back. And wait, I don't mean them fools. They would be fools to have me not come back and be a now gay man who's out in the world, play a character that comes out. How perfect! How can they?
Why not?
Because they're not going to get anybody better. So,
When was the first time, like when you're acting, you're doing like in the 80s when you're doing all those roles, you're doing Hills Have Eyes, Rituals,
Friday the
obviously
13th.
coming up to Friday the 13th. Like what was the first time that somebody was like, hey, I know you from so and so, like in public?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like what that was or what time that was? Was it from any of I'm guessing Friday the 13th would be, but I'm sure Rituals had a following, even though it was, like you said, it was on for a year.
Rituals really didn't. You know, you might have I'll tell you who the freaky people were. The freaky good fans were the theater people, because I would go back to New York and they'd say, "Oh, Kevin, can I get your autograph?" And they'd show me a picture of me on Rituals. Like they were like, oh, they know Kevin Blair, and then they know Kevin Spirtas, and they know, you know, the name changes, they know all of it. But I will say that the majority of well, okay, there's a very funny story I'll tell you. It was Days of Our Lives. When I was you know, doing Days, it was just immediate, like, you know, like, oh my God, I saw you. You're the guy. You're the new actor. But there's a great story. And this is actually June 1st, 2014. And this ties in with Michael. So I was living in New York, and my roommate knew the artistic director for the, I just lost her name, Wendy Williams. She was doing her Wendy Williams. You know, okay. and they were looking for somebody who could be a game show host and do something on the show as a game show host for Wendy and the guest that they were going to bring on. So I went in to meet with them, and sure enough, I get hired. And the guest they're bringing on is Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
And the game show that I was, they've taken it all down now. I've got to find it somewhere, but it literally is. Hey, I'm Kevin Spirtas, and welcome back to Wendy Williams' Summer Block Party, where today we're going to play a new game called Who Knows J-Lo, and it's J-Lo and Wendy, and it's the competition of who knows more about J-Lo than, and Wendy wins, of course, because she knows everything, and it was one of these moments where, because okay, so if you're in New York City, and you're on the street, you are in the throngs, and you're just in. Hey, when are you going back to Days of Our Lives? I don't know. Write them. Like they'll say, I loved you on the show. That was always. But the day that I was on Wendy Williams was the day that show went into syndication 3 times in New York. 11 a.m., maybe like at 1 o'clock or 1:30, and then at 4 o'clock. I was, hey man, I saw you on Wendy. Everyone's like, never before.
Oh my God.
So when Michael comes up to me at the gym and goes, "Are you Kevin Spirtas?" And I went, "Yes." Like I was ready for him to say, "I saw you on Wendy," and it was a total surprise. He used to say, "You looked at me like you were going to kill me." I was like, everyone was like talking about Wendy Williams. I was like, okay. So,
oh my God, that's a very important day. That's like something that needs to be celebrated every year.
The power of Wendy.
The power of June 1st. Yeah.
2014. Yeah, that was. So, and I will probably post somewhere on Facebook or Instagram my 17-year-old self singing and dancing. I do it every June 30th. So that'll be.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out. So this has been great. I have to ask about Friday the 13th because one thing I think is so cool, and I love the Crystal Lake Memories. I think that's like the best behind the scene document. You don't like that?
Mean where we all talked? Yeah.
Where you guys are talking about like scenes and things like that. So one thing
are you talking about the book or are you talking about the
documentary? The
documentary.
Yeah.
Because the book I was outed without my say. So that was
really?
Yeah.
When did the book come out?
Oh, the book came out one day. I was at a convention. I said, all these gay little goth kids, they love me. And they go, Kevin, because they know you're gay. I went, what? Have you not read the book? I said, and it was, I had said some things where I had said they're off the record. And he said, of course. And then he threw them on. Anyway.
Okay. That's terrible.
It's terrible. And, where is he now? Where are his Emmys?
Where is his Emmys? So when it came to that role, like obviously, like you love Broadway, but you have to work, right? So how did that get like approached to you? Was it like an open call? Your agent says, "Hey, they're looking for somebody," and you've been in horror.
I got a call on a Friday morning saying, "Tonight you have an audition for a show called Birthday Bash." Now, this is a Friday afternoon. And I went in and I met with John Buechler and, I see his face. We've lost him. Our casting director. Dang. It's coming. It's a B. Anyway. So, and Laura was outside in the lobby, and we were asked to read together at one point, and I remember the scene they gave me was Beneo. It's coming. You
got it. Anthony Barneo.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
So I met Anthony. God rest them both. Rest both those people. And I could tell John. There's this thing that happens in theater when you're singing at an audition, and you're la, la, and you're kind of like looking in this direction, but they're like, you kind of know that they're loving you. And I did the scene, and I looked up, and John just said, "Can you wait outside for a second, please?" Okay. And Laura and I were not close at that point. We were, I mean, well, we were not close during the filming, but it was after we came to all the conventions that we kind of like reconnected. We both had different approaches, and her husband was alive at the time. And he was very protective of her and very like, don't talk to my... We're both fucking actors. What are you?
Yeah.
And I remember going back in. I think I read it one more time, and I had known Anthony for quite a while. Anthony Barneo had brought me in for some other things. I just didn't know what this was. And by the time I got home, on my machine, my agent had called and said, "Give me a call." And I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "Well, you got the new Friday the 13th movie." What? He goes, "Yeah, you just read." I said, "Wait, is that Birthday Bash?" Oh, that's the... What's kind of cool, before that, 3 days prior to that, I had been up for a role on Santa Barbara that I went to test for. And Barbara Clayman was casting, and she brought me in, and I see this guy running down the hall. I go, "Hey, dude, you did that stunt in this movie, Hills Have Eyes, Part 2 that I was in. You got pulled through the Ring of Fire." He goes, "Oh, yeah. It's Kane Hodder." And he goes, "I just got the new Friday the 13th. I'm Jason in the new Friday." And I went, "What? That's so cool, man. Congratulations." So now my agent, I think you froze, but my agent says, "Yeah, you're in the new Friday the 13th. I go, "With Kane Hodder." So you froze. There you are. Hi. Did you hear that story?
Hi. I'll hear when I play back.
Okay. Anyway, it was Kane Hodder. I ran into Kane Hodder at Santa Barbara.
Oh my God.
And he said, "I just got the new role. And I go, "Oh my God, that's great. Congratulations." So by the time I got home and that role was now hired, I was hired for the Part 7. I was like, "I'm more with Kane." So that was kind of the,
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he's a good guy. I love Kane. Love him. And I see Lar, and I see Weekend at Bernie's.
Terry Kaiser?
One
of the best, man. For a guy that always played like the villain, in Mannequin 2, he really does the, like you mentioned, you did like the twirl of the mustache.
He was in Mannequin 2.
He did. He, in so many movies, but you really think about what he did as Bernie Lomax, it's pretty phenomenal that he was the whole movie, like just limp. It's pretty amazing.
He's told some great stories. I adore that man. I just adore him.
And he's probably the slimiest person in horror movie history, throwing the mom.
Tina, do it, Tina.
Oh, dude, yeah. His end game in that whole movie, he's worse than Jason. Really, what he wants in the movie.
And then the three of us got pulled back to do Roseblood. Which was a lot of fun. So, and I lost my jean jacket during that shoot. My jean jacket.
The jean jacket from?
I had a new jean jacket that I got for Part 8, the sequel, Roseblood. And somehow, it's been my jean jacket, my next jean jacket, my hoodie. So anyway.
But that movie, obviously got like totally cut when it comes to like the MPAA. So there was like so many scenes that were cut. Like I talked to Stacey Greason, and she talked about like her your cousin's girlfriend in the movie, and she talked about like because she did a movie like the year before with Billy, and Billy called her and said, Billy called her and Billy's like a Full Moon guy now. He does a lot of the Full Moon, like 2000s, 2010 movies. But he called her. He's like, "Hey, they need somebody to play my girlfriend. Do you want to do it?" And then she gets flown out to Alabama? Was that filmed in?
Shreveport, Alabama.
Yeah.
Was it Shreveport? No.
Louisiana?
No, we were in Alabama. Okay. I can't remember. Either Shreveport, Louisiana, or it was something Alabama.
Something in the South.
It was a 12-week shoot. I remember that. We did interiors and the exteriors there. Yeah, that was. Oh yeah. Again, and we were all kind of like very quiet on the set, closeted, because you just don't talk about that thing, and a majority of us were running around being gay, no, but not with each other, but we just all had this secret, like it wasn't until after the movie was completed that people were able to kind of like, oh hey, so
have real yeah, I know that's gonna be so hard, like not to be able to
it's a different time.
Yeah,
It's a different
but
time.
no, that movie obviously, like, I'm sure a lot of people, like when you go to conventions or whatever, obviously that movie, like in the history of the series, the first one that Kane did, and what he did in
Well,
that movie, he was such a
what he
beast.
did, what Lar did. I
Yeah,
mean, Lar and Kane carried that film
so
completely,
cool.
and I don't know where she is. There's all this rumor. I hope she's alive, but Susan Sullivan, there's always this rumor that she has died, and I'm like, where is she? Come on, and there's no trace. There's no nothing.
Who is that? Which character?
She played the Pearls.
Oh yeah, I thought she did. They talked to, yeah, they did say that, because a few people mentioned that. I feel like Lars' mom in the movie, that
Lars'
actress.
mom. That is. Oh, I just lost her name. Yeah, but she's very successful. She's does a lot of voiceover. What's her name?
Oh, she does. But in the Crystal Lake memory, she mentioned that about the girl with the pearls. She's like, yeah, she's lost touch, and yeah.
Yeah, we all kind of lost touch with her, and I maybe this interview will go out. If anyone knows Susan Sullivan, please, because you can't get a hold of her. You can't find an agent. She was, you know what? She was also in my Quantum Leap episode.
Really?
Yeah, she played this like roller skating waitress at this drive up in 1962. That was the where I was. Yeah. Scott Bakula, myself.
Before or after? Is it like right around this time?
It was after we had done Friday the 13th, because that's how I got to know her. I said, Susan. And then Jason Priestley was also in that episode with me. And that was right before he hit, 90210. There's someone else. Oh, gosh. And she's gone. She played Tom Cruise's mother in Risky Business. Joel, my egg. That whole thing. But I'll think of her name in a second. I see her face. This is what happens when you get old, folks. You get all these.
No, it's not getting old. So many. There's so many. It's hard to sometimes go back into all those the names. But no, she plays again in a horror movie. She plays such a great character. You'd think she could play that in so many different type of things. Absolutely. How good she played, like a bitch. She was like a total bitch, but so
totally,
believable.
Totally. And she was beautiful. She's beautiful.
Oh, stunning.
Wait, hold on. Kevin. Let's see. I got to figure out her name because it's driving me crazy. Kevin Spears. Quantum Leap. This is how you do it, folks. You do it right here on. You take advantage of it right here. Quantum.
Right in front of it.
Leap. Cast. Okay, here it goes. Let's see here. Janet Carroll. Janet Carroll played the mother in Risky Business, and she played my mother-in-law to be in this episode of
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap. Yeah, and she and I got very close. She was very, very gifted. She had they call it the touch. She could pick up your keys and tell you things, and kind of read your mind and read future stuff. It was kind of cool. Yeah, we lost her a little while ago too.
Oh man. So here are 2 questions about Friday the 13th. How did you know right away? Like, how soon did you know? Like, hey, you're gonna make it. Like, you're gonna be a survivor.
Oh, you mean in the actual script?
In the movie, in the script, yeah. Did you know from the beginning, like, hey, I'm here to the end?
Yeah, I mean, I had read the script. That part I knew. But I didn't know the big deal about what it meant to be a survivor. It was always the girl that survived, and I don't know what Beekler wanted the 2 of us to Live happily ever
Feldman.
after.
Yeah, it was like a little. It was Feldman. His character survived, and then a different person played him in 5, and obviously that changed the franchise. But yeah,
And
no,
then,
and I talked with everybody whoever I talked to that was in Friday the 13th. I talked to the final girl in 5, and I should know her name off the top of my head. But
Adrian, no,
what the heck's her name? I just talked to her last year. But anyway, I said to her, you know what? Like, isn't it kind of sad with all the stuff that's going between like the creators? And I think they finally sort of settled it. That you have a franchise that is called Friday the 13th, and the last film is number 12. So that they've done. So the 13th is an Melanie Kinnaman. So like, it would be amazing if the 13th movie follow what they're doing nowadays with Scream and what they're going to do with the new I Know You Did Last Summer movie. It's going to be like that legacy sequel. You bring back people from old ones. It'd be really cool. I don't know how
they've done it with Jamie Lee Curtis over and over again.
Yeah. So why not have all of you guys back, the survivors, in like some sort of support group or something?
I think that would be amazing. I think there's something interesting too about I've heard a rumor, and it could be under wraps, I don't know, but if I've heard it, then it's out there. But that what's his name? Who does all the horror story stuff? American Horror Story is
Ryan Murphy.
Ryan, I've heard that somewhere, something in there was like but they kind of did that in American Horror Story. They did like a summer camp. They
did, yes. What was that, Summer '84 or something, or
something
whatever
like that.
It was.
But I've heard there's some Friday something in the, So, but being the king of slasher film sequels is an honor.
It's a hard thing,
but someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. So, Kevin, over your career, like when you're in something, do you have any keepsakes that you kept from sets? Whether it been like Days of Our Lives or like your Hills Have Eyes, was there anything that you kept? Wardrobe, scripts, anything? What is gonna come out?
This is so this is my Danger Duck, and this is from a chorus line. My chorus line hat, my finale hat, is up there on the mantle up there. This is Danger Duck, and
oh my god,
this reads. If I can get some light here, so you'll get to understand this in a minute exactly why it's called Danger Duck. Danger Duck will always look after you. Remember all the wonderful theaters. Love, Sis. So Sissy was our wardrobe mistress. She was the head of wardrobe. And in the theater, sometimes in Bus and Truck, you would play these very small venues, and you would be able to like run backstage to cross over to get onto the, sometimes you had to go under the stage. So Danger Duck would hang on those low hanging.
So you didn't.
And I was the one who appreciated Danger Duck. And when she left the company, this has got to be over. This is since 1981.
Wow, that's a cool keepsake.
Yeah,
the beginnings. You remember the beginnings.
Yeah. I've got. I'm sure I've got a couple of things. I've got a couple of. I have all of Dr. Craig Leslie's wardrobe because Richard Bloor said, "Take it all." I'm not going to use it.
All right, cool.
And I have more stuff now from and I've got Morocco's from Boy from Oz that Hugh gave us, and there's something else I was just thinking of it. I've got a couple of Friday the 13th posters and magnets.
Oh, cool.
But yeah. There's things I'll go, oh, I forgot to tell him about that,
Yeah, no, it's so hard. Like I talked to Stuart Penkin, and he was sitting in his living room, and he goes, I go, do you keep anything? He's like, Doug, there's a closet over there that has a pile of scripts. He goes, I keep every script. And he goes, sometimes I have people sign them. But he's like, what am I going to do with them? I don't know where to put them. He goes, they sit in a pile.
Can I tell you? I have every script I ever did of Days of Our Lives. I don't know
Wow,
why I
that's a
kept
lot.
them. I thought at one point maybe I'll put them on eBay. I don't know. But then I thought, oh, then everyone's gonna know like what I was writing and thinking about. Who the fuck knows? And then I've got Birthday Bash, the original script. I've got
Really? That's
I've got
cool.
The Revenge of Jupiter, which is the original Hills Have Eyes Part 2.
Oh, so that had a false name too?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Also, let me jump back and then forward and back again. So,
Okay.
Guess who presented the Trailblazer Award to me? Dee Wallace.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my God.
she was lovely. I mean, I met her at a convention, and we just, bonded. And
She's very
so
motherly. I talked to a couple people that directed her and worked with her like in the last like 5-10 years, and just said how somebody that comes on set, like for some of those types of movies, you think some of those actors that have done it for a long time are there to cash a check and sit in their trailer and do whatever. She was
no,
like helping people go through lines, and it's great
she's
to hear
also
when people are like that.
yeah, she's also gifted. She also has a very beautiful gift about creating. She and I, the reason she and I get along, I think, so um, nicely or so fittingly is because we both believe that um, every thought, every 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 thought you think creates the next moment of your reality. So you think something, it becomes your reality. If you believe something, it becomes your reality. And like I said before, if you're going to have a problem, you either make it or you create it. I just watched Hugh Jackman not create a problem. He created uh, cleanup. He created healing. Everything he did. It was so beautiful to watch that, and that's the mastery. Your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas, they create your reality from here on out. Anything that follows I am is what your reality is. So I am successful or I am not successful. You
Yeah,
choose. I
positive
choose
thoughts.
successful. I choose
Yeah.
successful.
Oh man, Kevin, this has been great. I'm so happy we connect.